Imagine that when you wake up tomorrow, you receive a notification on your neural implant. Global education system completed. Update your brain to the new version. No warning, no meetings, no explanation. School has been deleted, literally. Now, learning doesn't require notebooks, teachers, or time. You just download it. Quantum physics in 12 seconds. Mandarin in 3 minutes. Open heart surgery in 1 click. Knowledge has become a file. Education has become software. And your brain has become the new classroom. In this new world, there are no more cafeteria lines, no roll call at the start of class. What exists is a skill menu, like in a video game. Want to learn art history? Install it. Need advanced calculus? Update. But with this kind of speed, a question arises. Was deleting school evolution or collapse? Before we continue, check if you're already subscribed to the channel, because the next few minutes will open folders your mind hasn't even accessed yet. And take a moment to comment now. If you would download knowledge straight into your brain, type install. But if you believe that feeling the process of learning still matters, type experience. Let's suppose you decide to accept the new system. You connect, choose a subject, and the knowledge is transferred directly into your brain like a zip file. You don't even notice it happening, but suddenly you know everything about genetics, architecture, or Roman law. The first sensation is strange. There's no effort. There's no achievement, just the information there, present, complete, silent. But then an inevitable doubt emerges. Does our brain really work like a hard drive? Does it have a maximum capacity? When you download new skills, does some memory of yours need to be erased? The answer may be uncomfortable. Despite seeming almost infinite, the brain doesn't store everything. It prioritizes, it discards, it rebuilds memories. It's like a ruthless editor. It keeps what it considers useful and deletes the rest. And unlike a hard drive, the brain doesn't save isolated data. It organizes memories through emotion, context, repetition. In other words, it's not enough to have information. You need to feel knowledge, to live it. Now imagine a 10-year-old child downloading all of Shakespeare's works. She'll know the texts, but will she grasp Hamlet's emptiness? Will she understand Macbeth's decay? Or will she just repeat words like stickers pasted onto a brand new machine? Even worse, the brain might start treating knowledge like garbage and delete everything that doesn't seem useful immediately. Childhood memories, forgotten scents, slow learnings, all replaced by cold data. Because when knowledge is turned into speed, we may lose the value of time. And then the brain stops being a hard drive and becomes a smart trash bin, emptying what doesn't generate results, including who you once were. Imagine you're in a hospital. A doctor walks in, smiles, and says, "Don't worry, I downloaded your heart surgery last night. You're good to go." You swallow hard. He knows the entire procedure, the steps, the risks, the most modern techniques. But does he really understand what he's doing? Or did he just read it too fast to feel the true weight of it? Because one thing is having the recipe. Another very different thing is cooking with time, with mistakes, with smells, with improvisation. Learning in seconds seems magical, but that magic has a price: the disappearance of doubt. And doubt, as uncomfortable as it may be, is what shapes critical thinking. In the traditional model, learning demands confrontation with your own limits, with frustration, with boredom. That's what teaches resilience, patience, analysis, depth. Now imagine a generation that learned history without forgetting dates, math without making mistakes, philosophy without getting lost in questions. They know everything, but they never stumbled. Effortless learning is like a bridge floating, without pillars. It works until the first wind blows. And in the real world, the wind always comes. No doubt neural downloading would eliminate inequalities. It wouldn't matter where you were born or how much money you have. Knowledge would be available. It's inclusive, it's fair, it's democratic. But at the same time, what separates a good doctor from a dangerous one? An inspiring teacher from an empty one? A brilliant engineer from one who only memorizes formulas? The answer lies in experience, in time, in failure. If everything comes ready-made, the world loses nuance. And the brain, no matter how fast it processes, still needs time to understand. At first, everything seemed perfect. Literacy rates skyrocketed. Thousands of people, once excluded from education, were now forming opinions about politics, particle physics, anthropology, all with a single click. The world applauded, but the problems arrived quietly, and they were strange. A young woman installed an advanced engineering module, but began to forget her own mother's name. An elderly man learned fluent French in 30 seconds and lost the ability to distinguish dreams from real memories. A 12-year-old boy downloaded History of the World Wars and began to have vivid nightmares of trenches and mustard gas, as if he had fought in them. Neural downloads didn't just transfer information, they reconstructed fragments of experience so the brain could make sense of the content. But the human brain is not just a receiver. It interprets, it associates, it reacts, and sometimes it collapses. Cases began to emerge, people confusing real memories with downloaded data, intense emotional reactions to content they had never lived, but was now recorded as experience. Collateral trauma from violent materials, loss of identity in users who downloaded excessive amounts of knowledge. Some even tried to delete parts of their own personality to make space for more data. And when that began happening, on a large scale, the brain started to fight back. Neuroscientists reported something never before observed: spontaneous block zones, as if the nervous system itself were trying to defend against overload. In the attempt to become superhuman, humans had forgotten a simple detail. Not all knowledge fits in every mind. The brain, though adaptable, is deeply tied to its own history. Inserting data out of context is like trying to plant a full-grown tree in dry soil. It may stand upright, but it doesn't grow roots, and without roots everything collapses. When knowledge began to be downloaded directly into the brain, a new economy emerged, discrete, underground, but devastating. At first, learning packages came from trusted sources, universities, research institutes, certified organizations, but it didn't take long for parallel versions to appear. Someone started cloning learning files, then editing them, and soon selling them for cryptocurrency, for access, for influence. What once was knowledge became merchandise. Pirated packages offered instant learning of aggressive negotiation, advanced psychological persuasion techniques, practical manual for group manipulation, with harmless names, with clean appearances, but with dirty code, programmed to alter more than memory, ethics, and worse, no one could trace the exact effects, because each brain reacted differently to the content. Some absorbed only the technique, others also absorbed the distorted values embedded in the data. Soon, professionals with impeccable resumes began to appear, but with dangerously uniform behaviors: surgical coldness, unbridled ambition, lack of empathy. And then came the darkest reports: deep core packages, illegal versions offering forbidden abilities, military sabotage techniques, methods of mental interrogation, access to other people's mental profiles through neural impulse reading, language models copied from criminal brains, all disguised as advanced learning. Companies began shielding their employees. Governments tried to regulate downloads, but it was too late. Knowledge had become a weapon, and worse, an invisible weapon. Because unlike a physical weapon that you can see, hear, or feel, modified knowledge hides inside someone's mind. And once corrupted content is absorbed, not even the person themselves knows what's real anymore. Knowledge had become toxic, and the world discovered, in the worst possible way, that there is no neutrality when the mind is turned into a read and write device. When downloads became the new standard of learning, the world paused for a moment to notice a figure that once was ordinary, but now seemed out of time. The teacher, the one who explained slowly, who wrote on the board, who stopped to listen, who repeated the same thing 1,000 times, with the patience of someone who teaches and waits. In a world where knowledge installs in seconds, what use is someone who takes a lifetime to teach? For a while, they were ignored. Governments cancelled hires, universities emptied, respect became a joke. You still teach out loud? Some resisted, others retired. But those who remained began to notice something strange. Even though knowledge was everywhere, people didn't know what to do with it. They knew formulas, but not how to decide. They knew laws, but not how to judge. They knew logic, but not how to live together. Raw knowledge was an ocean, and humanity was drowning without a compass. That's when the teacher's role re-emerged, not as a transmitter of content, but as an organizer of consciousness. They began to be sought after again, not to teach mathematics, but to help someone find a path within the overload of information. They became mental curators, cognitive guides, therapists of knowledge, because the problem was no longer access, the problem was the noise, the mental chaos of millions of downloads colliding inside overloaded brains. The good teachers were rehired, paid more than ever before, but now with a new role to teach how to learn, to teach how to forget, to teach how to think. No slides, no formulas, just presence, pauses, listening. They didn't return to the blackboards. They returned to conversations, to silences, to the moments when someone said, "I have all the information, but I don't know who I am." And then, the teacher did the one thing no download could ever replace. They helped someone reconnect with what is most human. Imagine yourself in front of a screen. It's glowing, pulsing with a soft blue light as if it were breathing. At the bottom, there's a button. Install Total Knowledge. Just one touch. And in seconds, you'll know everything. Every language, every formula, every theory, all of history, all techniques, all answers. You'll never need to study again, never ask, never fail. You will simply know, but something inside you hesitates, because somewhere deep down, you remember what it was like to discover, not to have the answer, but to search for it. The chill in your stomach before understanding, the frustration that came before clarity, the joy that only exists when the victory is yours. If you press the button, you'll know how to play the piano, but will you cry when you play? You'll know what love is, pain, art, faith, but will you feel any of them? The button offers everything, but it erases the path, and sometimes the path is the only thing that keeps us human. Now stop for a second, breathe, and ask yourself, honestly, would you press it? If this journey made you think, reflect, or imagine the future in a new way, subscribe to the channel. Here, we don't install ready-made truths. We build questions that matter. Press the right button, like this video, and if you want to keep exploring ideas that move both your mind and your heart, watch the other videos on the channel. We'll meet in the next one. Until then.